Welcome to Lingua Latina Tutorials with Mr. K, Pensvm D. This video helps explain the grammar and syntax for Chapter 20 of the Lingua Latina per se Lustrada series. It is meant to accompany the Latina Disco text available from Focus Bookstore and the Pensvm D worksheets available from 50%latin.blogspot.com or christianlanguage.com. Let's get into the text. We're going to start in line 6, or lines 5 and 6, where we have infans neque somno neque cibo carrera potest. So a baby is able to lack neither sleep nor food, is able to go without. So this word carrera, to go without, to be without, means or takes what we call an ablative of separation, to be away from food, to be away from sleep. So carrera, we would say, takes the ablative, and the kind of ablative it takes is the ablative of separation. That's why you have ablative cibo and ablative somno. The next new grammar and syntax feature is in line 21. You're going to find in this chapter that most of our new grammar and syntax has to do with a new tense of verbs, the future tense. You now, in this chapter, will have encountered 3 Latin tenses, 3 of the 6. Present imperfect, called a preterite here, and then the future tense in this chapter. So here we have said, post paucos menses novus infans in cunis erit. So, but after a few months, a new baby will be in the crib. So, erit here, a new form of sum esse. If you were looking erit up in the dictionary, you wouldn't find erit, you would find sum esse, sum in your standard Latin dictionary, esse in the Orberg dictionary. And it is simple future, will be, third person singular. To conjugate erit in the in all 3 persons and 2 numbers, you would have ero, eris, erit, eremus, eritis, erunt. That is the conjugation of sum in the future. In line 22, just the very next line, we see another future tense, another future verb. Aemilia rursus parvulum infantem habebit neque cunae vacuae erunt. Okay, Amelia again will have a little baby, and the crib will not be empty. Vacuae. So notice that we have habebit here from habera. So if we were going to look this up in the dictionary, we would look under habeo, habera, and habebit, so it's a second conjugation verb. Notice that the future tense will have, adds a bit with the personal ending t on the end, bit. So if we were going to conjugate habebit fully, we would say habebo, habebis, habebit, habebimus, habebitis, habebunt. So the endings for the first and second conjugations in the future are bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitis, bunt for the active voice. Notice I said for the first and second conjugations for ara, era verbs. It's like for verbs like laudara and habera here. We're going to see that in other conjugations, the third and fourth conjugations, the future does not use the same endings. It's the one tense that gets a whole new set of endings for the third and fourth conjugations. So the next feature I want to point out is a first conjugation verb and the way that it conjugates. And here we have pater infantem suum in manibus portabit eumque non minus amabit quam mater. So the father will carry his baby in his hands, and he will love him not less than his mother does. So we have two verbs here that are both first conjugation, portabit and amabit. Portabit from the dictionary form porto portare, and amabit from amo amare. So if we were going to conjugate portabit in the future, active, we would have portabo, portabis, portabit, portabimus, portabitis, portabunt. So in line 32, you will see an example of a third conjugation verb in the future. And here we have, starting with infans, infans igetur parentibus suis dicet, mamma tata. So therefore the baby will say to his parents, mama and tata, or mama, dada in English. So dicet from dicera, dico, dicera, that short E in the third conjugation in the future, rather than getting a set of endings bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitis, bunt, the third and fourth conjugations get the endings ace, et, amus, atis, ent. And so to fully conjugate dicera in the future active, we would get dicam, dicase, dicet, dicamus, dicatis, decant. In line 31, we see the future of possum, posse, to be able, and so we'll start with just neque here. Neque enim infans ipsa nomina patris et matris dicera poterit. For the baby will not be able to say the names themselves of father and of mother. That's why he's going to have to say mama and tata, because he can't pronounce mother and father. So the word poterit, notice that you see the erit. We've just met the future of sum before. And here we see that for possum, posse, to be able, it forms, it's a conjunction of pot plus ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt. So to fully conjugate possum in the future, we would say potero, poteris, poterit, poterimus, poteritis, poterunt. The next grammar feature is in line 36. And here we have ducetur. You should recognize this passive ending tur. We'll start reading the sentence up here in 34. Initio pater eum sustenebit ac manu ducet, mox vero, infans solus ambulare incipiet, neque a parentibus sustenebitur, neque manu ducetur. So we have, at the beginning, at first, the father will hold him up and will lead him by the hand. But soon the baby by himself will begin to walk and will not be held up by his parents and will not be led by his hand. So here we've got actually two passives here to point out, sustenebitur and ducetur. Both of these are future passives. So just as you can have a future active, he will hold up, he will sustain, the subject could be the one being sustained in the future or held up in the future. So he will be sustained, or in this case, neque sustenebitur, he will not be sustained or held up. The passive endings of the future are bor, burbis, bitur, bimur, bimini, buntur. So if we were going to fully conjugate this second conjugation verb, sustenere, we would have sustenebor, sustainaberis, sustainabitur, sustainabimur, sustainabimini, sustainabuntur. Meaning I shall be held up, you will be held up, he, she, it will be held up, etc. So the same rule that applied to the first and second conjugation and third and fourth conjugation in the future active, where you had bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitus, bunt for the first and second conjugations, and then ace, et, amus, atus, ent endings for the third and fourth conjugations, you also get the same rule applying for the future passive for the first and second and third and fourth conjugations. So while first and second is bor, burris, bitur, etc., the future passive for the third and fourth conjugations, here with the example of dukara, are eris, atur, amor, amini, entur. So we're adding aris, tur, mormini, entur to our ace, et, amus, atus, ent. So we end up with, if we're going to fully conjugate ducatur, we would have ducar, ducaris, ducatur, ducamor, ducamini, ducentur. For I will be led, you will be led, he, she, it will be led, etc. Okay, the next feature that I want to point out is in line 55. And it is our irregular verb wolo and nolo. Okay. Ego alteram filiam habera wolo, plures quam duos filios nolo. So Amelia says, I want, wolo, to have another daughter. I don't want, nolo, to have more than 2 sons, duos filios. So wolo and nolo have irregular conjugations, and you see in the margin that the first, second, and third person singular for wolo are ego wolo, to wis, is wult, wolo, wis, wult. If we're going to do the plurals for wolo, we would have wolomus, wultis, wolunt. So the full conjugation wolo, wis, wult, wolomus, wultis, wolunt. Nolo follows this pattern somewhat, but breaks it at a couple points. So whereas wolo, which has the infinitive welle, to want, V-E-L-L-E, nolo, the infinitive is nole, to not want, and its conjugation in the present active indicative is nolo, non vis for the second person, non vult for the third person, nolomus, non vultis, nolunt. So nolo, non vis, non vult, nolomus, non vultis, nolunt. Notice that for the second and third person singular, you get 2 words, non vis and non vult. And then also for the second person plural, you get non vultis. The rest of them are combined forms and look more like their parallel form of wolo. The next feature that I want to point out also has to do with nolo, to not want, and it is the way that you form a negative imperative. We've learned before how to form the regular positive imperative, do something, where we just take the stem of the verb. Take, for example, love, amare, take off the re, and we command someone love, ama. And if we want to the plural, we just add te, amate, you guys love. If we want to do the same thing in the negative, if we want to command someone to not do something, don't love, what we would do is we use the imperative of nole, to not want, which is noli in the singular and nolite in the plural, and then add the infinitive. So for don't love, we would have noli amara, or plural, nolite amara. Notice that the infinitive doesn't change. And literally what you're saying is, don't you dare want to love. Or you guys plural, don't you dare want to love. And here in this example in line 69 we have Julius who says, noli avere tecum colloqui volo. So he says, don't leave, habira. Literally, don't you dare want to leave. But we would translate it as, don't leave. I want to talk with you. Colloqui tecum volo. I want to talk with you. So the noli plus the infinitive is the way that we form negative commands in Latin. In line 124, I'm going to skip ahead a little ways and look at our example sentence here with Amelia saying, O miseros nautas qui numquam domum revertentur. So, oh wretched sailors who will never return home. Domum here, the accusative of domus, fourth declension noun, is a motion toward accusative. It's showing because they won't return to home. Direction toward is always shown by the accusative case, and so this is an accusative of motion toward, just as we saw earlier with Tusculum and Romam, to Rome and to Tusculum. Another form, a very common form of domus, is found in line 127, and here we have ego laetor quod pater meus nauta non est, et domi apud nos manera potest. So Julia says, I am happy because my father is not a sailor and is able to stay at home with us. So domi here, in domo suo, in our home, at home. This is very common use of domus. It's called the locative genitive. It's a genitive form, but it is irregular because it's even this is in the fourth declension, or domus is, but it has this irregular locative form. And so at home is domi. Now the full declension of domus, because again it is irregular, you'd expect the us, and then us, ui, u endings for the singular, but instead you get domus, domum, domi, the genitive, domui, and then domo for the ablative, and then the plural, domus, domos, and domorum, domibus, domibus. So you get a couple of forms that you would not expect in the fourth declension. So you need to memorize that full declension of domus, as we saw in the last chapter. Line 130 has a form of vos. We see necesse est mihi cras rursus a vobis discedera, nec vero in terras alienas ibo ut nauta. So it is necessary for me to leave you guys again tomorrow, cras. Nec vero, but I will not go into other or foreign countries or foreign lands like a sailor would. So we have here vobis, which is the ablative of vos. So if we're looking this up in the dictionary, we look under vos, and it's the ablative with the preposition a, from you guys. I won't leave you guys. We see in line 136 the parallel similar form to vobis. We see nobis coming from nos. Vobis from vos, nobis from nos. Nos meaning we or us. And here we have the negative command, Julia saying, Nolia nobis discedera, don't leave us, don't go away, a nobis, from us, ablative of separation. And nobis, in the dictionary, if you're looking up, you would look under nos, and the full declension of nos would be nos, nominative and accusative the same. Nostrum nobis nobis. For vos, it would be vos, vestrum vobis vobis. Okay, the last feature that I want to point out is here in line 131. So we'll start up here. Well, we just read the sentence where he said, "But I will not go into foreign lands." Ibo. Remember that ira, the verb to go, eo, ira, in the dictionary either is going to be under eo, I go, or ira, to go. And the conjugation in the future of ira follows the pattern of a first or second conjugation verb. So it adds bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitus, bunt to a long I. So it is ebo, ibis, ibit, ibimus, ibitus, ibunt. I will go, you will go, he, she, it will go, we shall go, you will go, they will go. Okay, so those are all the new grammar and syntax features for chapter 20.